Well, hey, Herd. Life.
What are we doing today?
I don't know, man. I think this is the vinyl tag. Let's just try again. We'll just try again. Season 3 of Melted Wax, Vinyl Herd. I don't know, man. We tried really hard last year to get content out to you guys every few weeks. We were pretty successful for the first half of the year, and then it kind of... I travel for work a lot. I'm a video producer by trade, so I'm just not able to do as much of this stuff as I'd like to. So, we're going to try to, be as consistent as we can this year. We got some other big things happening that we're going to announce to you guys in the coming weeks. But right now, it's Vinyl Tag 2022.
Right. This is like our Happy New Year.
Let's try again. Let's wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
What did you do last year in the world of vinyl records, that kind of thing?
So that's a good question. Do you have an overall theme of like your vinyl purchasing? And
my overall theme this year was getting organized. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder here, but I spent the last several months of the last year getting all of my collection into Discogs, and I want to make a couple videos about that maybe moving forward this year, and just like kind of tell people like what that process was like, because I think some people might get into the situation that I was in, where you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of records, and you really don't,
Yeah, it's pretty tough when you don't start from the beginning, putting that stuff in, because it's a lot of work.
Here's resolution for you guys, you new record collectors out there: start putting your stuff in Discogs now. That way you won't get into the situation that I found myself.
Once it's in there, it's awesome.
But I feel like it's been a shift this year. It's gone from, there's a lot of stuff coming out of COVID at the beginning of the year, and now I feel like we're kind of past that a little bit, in the sense that the live concerts are back. I'm getting a lot of vinyl shows and things like that. So let's just dive right in. What's the first one's pretty straightforward.
The first one is favorite new release of 2022. I'll let you go. I think I know what this is.
Yeah, this one's easy. If you follow the channel at all, I did do a specific vinyl review about this particular record. I'd like to do some more of those again this year. We'll keep trying. Anyway, this is the Lumineers Bright Side, this came out right at the beginning of the year in January of this year, and it's just a fantastic record. It's emotional, but it's poignant. It's not over the top. It's solid. If you want to know more about this record, I did a lengthy review of this album, so go ahead. Dive in.
Mine was, I didn't buy a whole lot of new releases this year. This is the new Five Finger Death Punch. And, they're a good groove metal, hard rock band. And this one was actually pretty good, has some good tunes on it. And,
Artwork's fabulous there.
I love the artwork on that one. Next up, we have the last band or solo artist you saw live. I'll let you go.
Well, so, you have to, there's not a choice there. It has to be the last band that you saw live.
Well, the last band that I saw live doesn't have
any vinyl
or any shit, but the one before that, I think I'm good.
I had the absolute pleasure a couple days ago of shooting 3 nights of the String Cheese Incident for their New Year's Eve run down at the Mission Ballroom. So this is a copy I picked up from the merch booth, Untying the Knot, and it's on gold vinyl.
That's sweet. So the concert I saw before that was Smashing Pumpkins with Jane's Addiction opening for them.
Yeah.
So this is Smashing Pumpkins' first album, Gish. I just picked this up. Finally found a repress. This is not original, unfortunately, but it's a pretty great album.
Them pumpkins go quick.
Yep. Next up, their first album was their best.
Go.
I chose The Runaways. This is an original press.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Where did you find that?
I bought a collection that had a bunch of Runaways records in it.
Wow.
And this is one I decided to keep. It has the classic Cherry Bomb on it. And, they have quite a interesting story. There's a documentary out, I think, on Netflix about them. So check that out. Sweet. If you want to learn more, but this is a great little album.
Great cover, hard to find, I'm sure. I'll go a little bit more recent than that. This is a repress I picked up this year of the Alabama Shakes Boys and Girls. And I don't know, this record, when it first came out, really spoke to me. I was really into it. And then, I feel like the second album they came out with, which was Colors or something like that, just not a big fan of that record. And I haven't really dug a lot of what Britney's done after that. And it sucks because she's so awesome and so talented. So I'm sorry, I'm sure... Blame me in the comments, it's okay. But I think Alabama Shakes best. Their first record, Boys and Girls, is by far their best. And they just did a 10-year anniversary release of this record this year. So this record was 10 years this year.
Yeah, I think I have that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I got the cotton candy swirl on that. But I don't know what the colorway of the new one is. So.
All right. the next one is the Hat Trick. Show a vinyl, CD, and cassette of an album.
I didn't have this, to be honest with you. I think that if I went out there and dug in the garage, I could find some like CDs I have albums of, and I could find some tapes. I mean, the closest I could think of when I was trying to come up with this was that I might have a CD bootleg and a tape bootleg of Cornell, which I have the first album of in my collection. So I might have 3 bootlegs of the same show, but that's about as far as I can get with that.
That's pretty cool. The one I have is, it's kind of funny because I don't know why I have this, but Blind Melon. I have the CD and the cassette for some reason.
That's awesome.
I actually have 2 copies of the cassette.
Okay.
For some weird reason.
Well, see, you could have gotten me 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah, I could have gotten you that. But yeah, this is a great album, and I just, for some weird reason, happen to have all of them.
That's awesome.
When I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's going to be hard.
Let me try that one again next year. That's what I was thinking.
Right. So that was number 4.
I did just get the tape player. The 5220 is up and running.
Well,
so,
if you need a Blind Melon tape, let me know.
Thanks, man. We'll rock that out tonight.
All right. This one was weird. An album that starts and ends with the same letter.
This was an easy one for me. Grateful Dead's Oxymox. I mean, it's the name is, what do they call that? A palindrome, or it's like
it's
backwards or whatever. Not a palindrome. I don't. That's not right at all. But yeah, this one was my easy call for that.
I had to dig a little bit. I did find this one. This is 13th Floor Elevators.
Okay.
Easter Everywhere.
Some Texas psych rock for you early.
So that was my choice. Next up, an artist that was born in the same year as you. This
is one I had trouble with because I feel like the bands that I'm fans of that I like, they're like 5-10 years older than me, and then like your Fish and like the String Cheese, even those guys, they're all a little bit older than me. Uh-huh. And then the bands that I grew up with, like some of them are in my age, and then there's just a lot of younger music that I'm into. So I just had a really hard time nailing this down, but I did get it figured out.
Oh, yeah?
And there's a band called Euphorchestra. You may or may not have heard of them. They're a fantastic band. Originally from Iowa City, they moved out to Colorado. Now they're kind of all over. They don't play as much anymore, although they did release a new album this year. But I had to go back to this pressing of Fire, which I got this year at their music festival. It was the last. They're a band that's sort of, they're all kind of getting older into their middle lives, and they got other stuff. They got kids and stuff like that, and they've been a band for 15 years, so they just don't tour as much. But they did play some shows this year. And I was able to I was working in Peoria, and I literally drove 3 hours into the cornfields of Iowa to go to the last Camp Euphoria. And I got there basically right before the last 2 bands were playing. So I always wondered what it would be like to go to a music festival on a full send at the last minute, and I totally got to experience that this summer. And I picked up Euphorchestra, and the member of Euphorchestra that is born in the same year as me is Ryan Jeter, their sax player. He's where is Jeter now? He's back home. I think he's back home in Iowa. But yeah, we were both born in 1981. Love you, Jeet. That's all. It was hard. That was a hard one for me. I spent hours on that.
You might laugh about this one.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
So Papa Roach, Jacoby Shaddix, the lead singer and one of the founders of the band, was born. What was it? July 28th. 1976. 76. You could have found some more in 76. I'm a couple weeks older than him.
Yeah,
but and I think there was someone else in the band too that was born in the same year, but I couldn't find that information. But yeah, was my choice for that one.
It's a challenging one.
Yeah. So next up is the most listened to album in 2022.
This one was not hard for me either. I got a copy of the Shook Twins' What We Do at Telluride last year, and my wife played it so much that it literally, I could hear the sound degrade, it's probably dirty, it probably needs a good, cleaning and whatnot, but she just played it repeatedly. So we actually got a chance to see them in a little barn outside of Longmont, Colorado. And I walked up and I bought all 3 of the records they had available, including their new album, and another copy of this because I want to have a sealed copy of this as a backup.
That's sweet. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Shook Twins are fantastic if you've never heard of them. Really great acoustic, folky twins. Just awesome.
I chose Black Crowes, Shake Your Moneymaker. I picked this up earlier this year, and for some reason, when I was in college or whatever, this band just eluded me. I didn't really listen to them that much, and I don't know why. And I put this on, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I just played it over and over again for like a couple of months, and I still throw it on from time to time, and I'm just like, this is solid.
Did you get the green vinyl version?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
The translucent green vinyls. But yeah, that's one we played a lot too. I got that one in a collection of stuff this year, and I was just like,
yeah, I'm like, where was this album all my life?
Played the heck out of it.
All right, so most listened to artist in 2022. Now I'm going to go first on this one. I kind of cheated on this because I couldn't think of a singular artist that I really focused on this year. Mm-hmm. So my cheat is that I focused on a label.
Okay.
So there's a certain label that I really got into more this year, and it is the Blue Note label.
So, I mean, why not?
Yeah. So Blue Note's been putting out all these tone poets and all these Blue Note classics. Just great jazz artists, great jazz albums. I've been picking up a lot of these classic albums, and they sound amazing.
I know where you're buying those.
Yeah. Well, from here and there. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of cheated on that one.
I don't think that's a cheat. I think that if that's a cheat, then mine's a total cheat because mine's the Grateful Dead. This was actually the Stanford Live in Stanford '88. I think this is a reissue or a repress because it just kind of started appearing again. It was out for a while, then you couldn't find it for a couple years, and now it's out again. The color on this thing is ridiculous. It's really just a cool, really unique kind of combination of colors that they did on it. But I got this at Noble Records when I was on my little trip. This is my splurge at Noble Records. So.
Oh, that's cool. So it's kind of special.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Australian artist or band.
Oh my God, we're gonna go.
You go ahead, go first, because I lost my place.
This is so easy. In fact, they're gonna list the thing.
Well, you didn't pick AC/DC?
No, of course not. I picked King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard because they're an Australian band and they're really doing some interesting stuff right now. I got the chance this summer to see them live for the first time.
You did? Me too.
Yeah, it was awesome. You were there. You were there. But we went and checked them out, and
that was an awesome show.
It's I feel like the live show is probably more up your alley than it is up my alley.
Well, they rocked out pretty hard
in ways,
in that show.
But I could totally appreciate what they were doing because they're not afraid to use they're a psych rock band, I think, at the core of what they're doing. So they're not afraid to use any of the tools in the kit that fall under psych rock. And it's a full auditory visual assault. And you're going to get through a show and you're not going to be quite the same person as you are.
That just happened.
So we'll talk about them a little bit more in a second because they're another one on my list. But this is Omnirium Gatherium. This is sort of like an album that came out earlier in this year. And they did a record store release on this sort of like cotton candy, like pinkish vinyl stuff. King Gizzard was way ahead of the colored vinyl game. I feel like they were just pushing the forefront of that. So they've done some really cool pressings, and we're going to talk about a couple more here in a second. But this was a indie record store day release, or not record store day, just an indie record store release. They did a black wax version of this and a couple other versions, but this was the one that went to the record stores, and it was their first double album, believe it or not. Oh. And it's the first double studio album. Sure. And it's really, the name is sort of appropriate because it's like this sort of combination of all of the different styles and genres that they dabbled in. They do stuff that's just like jazzy and light and just airy, and then they do stuff that's like sludge metal and everything in between. So it's like you have to be prepared for that if you're going to dive down that rabbit hole. But
so my choice of Australian artist was Nick Cave and Bad Seed.
Nice.
Picked this up at a record show this year, I think. And
is that original?
No. So Let Love In does have his more known song, Red Right Hand, on it. Mm-hmm. And this is an excellent album. It's moody, it's kind of dark. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
He's an acquired taste.
All right. So next up, surprising purchase of 2022. So the one that I picked was, and you might laugh, but Kate Bush, Hounds of Love.
Is that the one with the song on it?
That's the one
hill?
with Running Up That Hill.
Running Up That Hill.
That was on Netflix, right?
It's on Stranger Things, yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool song, but it was never really something I was into.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, well, this kind of blew up, so I'm not going to find this record anywhere.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding it at a record store for a reasonable price.
I remember you were looking for it for a while, and it was kind of shooting up on the old Discogs.
Yeah, the thing is, I think the cassette tape was the one that really shot through the roof, because that's what was on the show.
Nice, nice.
But yeah, I was happy to find this on vinyl, and I listened to the whole thing, and
they're repressing her
cool.
whole catalog now, I feel like. There's I've seen a couple new pressings of her stuff kind of floating out. And I feel like that's the great thing about popular culture is like, dude, how many call us the boomer or whatever, but how many people like don't know about some of these artists that were just incredible? You know, it really does take some digging to find. You know, I wasn't, you know, a total 80s kid, and, I knew who Kate Bush was, but I didn't know that song until it was sort of refreshed by the
I'm just happy I came across it. I wasn't really expecting to.
I remember you talking about that for
I was talking about it, but I'm like, I'm never going to get it. It's fine. And I don't really need it that bad, but I came across it, and I was like, well, I'm not going to not get it.
I was on the video crew again for Government Mule. They played 30th anniversary show at the Fox Theater, so it was like a 500-person room, and I was in the right on the pit on the rail shooting his fingers and getting tights and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that show. And I know, I know him as a bluesy kind of guy, sort of a jam-oriented guy, but like this record is such a hardcore like blues romp. Mm-hmm. This is heavy load blues by Government Mule. I was honestly surprised by this record. It's fantastic. Yeah. So if you want the more bluesy side of Mule, I would highly recommend this record.
Yeah, it's really good. I was at that same show, and it was an awesome show.
It's another show we got to go to this year. We get to
Well, that was another thing last year. We finally got to go
to a couple
shows.
Concerts. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
We tried for a little bit.
Next up is artist or band you're complete on. I assume this means you have
all of their
stuff.
And I think I went a little obscure because people will be like, oh, do you have all Fish? I'm missing a couple key Fish records. I'm missing Farmhouse and I'm missing Rift. King Gizzard, they have 23 studio albums at this time. I think I have 20. I have 21 of them.
A complete set of King Gizzard is quite a feat.
It's a lot.
And something you have to keep up with monthly.
Yeah. I'm close on them, but I picked one that I took me a minute to find it, because especially this one didn't get repressed right away. But Shaky Graves. Shaky Graves, another really cool Austin, Texas acoustic guy, just fun. I had the chance to shoot him at the Fox Theater for their 25th anniversary run. But just an interesting dude, cool guy, plays really interesting music. I enjoy it, but I do have all of his records. He has a few 7-inches that I'm still looking for. He has 2 7-inches I'm still looking for, and then I would have every single thing he has on vinyl. Oh, wow. But I have all of his LPs.
Okay, that's awesome. I just stuck with studio albums because I don't think I have any. And Slipknot. And me getting into this was kind of your fault.
You're wrong.
Because you found that one original press Slipknot record.
Yep.
And where you only had the one disc.
And then I had to go find the guy.
And then the guy found the disc.
I was like, hey, guy, not a big deal, but do you still have this? Because, if you have this record's worth $120 or something like that.
And so with that, I ended up picking up the rest of their collection because they started repressing everything. But this one was a little harder to find because it would sell out everywhere.
Iowa's their famous... Going to the University of Iowa at the time of Slipknot, I can tell you that they were a big deal in Iowa.
Yeah. So I did finally pick this up. It was funny because it was finally in stock on this one kind of obscure website, and I'm like, I jumped on it, I bought it, and literally the next day I found it in Barnes and Noble.
Does it ever make you nervous when you?
And I almost bought it too, but I'm like,
you go to Rough Trade or you go to one of these other websites, and you're like, I don't know if they're. There's so many I almost got trapped on another one that was like this. It looks like Merch Bar, but it's not Merch Bar. And you get in there, and then they'll take your orders on back order, which MoFi used to do, and they got into a bunch of hubbub about it. So they just stopped doing it, which I think is the smart move.
No, I mean this place is a legit place, but it's a record store in I don't know, other side of the country.
That's fair.
And they had it in stock, so I got it, and then I just found it here locally. That's how that works. Next up is a run of 3 albums.
I can do that in this year.
That's probably not too hard.
Well, no, it is. How many bands put out 4 records this year?
Oh, in a year? Okay.
In this year.
Fair.
So King Gizzard, when I said we'll get back to it, we're going to get back to it. King Gizzard announced like 3 records, like sort of like July, I think. I was on the road shooting, and I just ordered all 3 of them because why not?
Is that Denim?
Yeah, it's this.
That's cool.
So this is the name of this album's Laminated Denim, and this is like their Timeland release, this was meant to play in the middle of the set breaks at Red Rocks. That's what this music was made for. And so they did, like they played on the night that we went, they played Timeland. But the other 2 nights, they played side 1 and side 2 of this record at Red Rocks that they played this year. So that's really cool. Changes, which is another LP, and then another double LP, Ice, Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava, which the colorway on this particular pressing is silly, dude. It's just silly.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So overall, great record. All 3 of them are fantastic, totally up my alley. As far as King Gizzard goes, not too heavy, not too sludgy. Kind of in the middle of like their sort of woo sound, if you will. But I like all 3 of those records, and all 3 of those records basically came out at the same time this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mine are spaced a little more apart and talking about sludgy metal, but I chose Gojira. So let me get them in order. So this one, The Infant Sauvage, came out in 2012. Magma came out in 2016.
That's a cool cover.
And then Fortitude came out in 2021. And I actually bought them in the opposite order. I bought this one first, then Magma. Then I got lucky and found this Sauvage one at a local shop. And I didn't even realize they were in sequence. But it's like starting from their newest,
Yeah.
and then walking back.
Sure.
So
That happens.
that's kind of fun to find those. So next up is the 80s soundtrack.
80s soundtrack. Just found this one. The Breakfast Club. It's more for the wife than for me, but you know.
You don't have to lie. It's fine.
It's on white vinyl.
That's pretty sweet. What's your favorite song on there?
Don't you forget about me.
Okay. This one's definitely for me.
Oh yeah. There you
Transformers the movie. The 80s animated one.
Is that like
This is a
new?
Record Store Day exclusive from a number of years ago. And it has this awesome artwork.
Wow.
And it unfolds all the way. It's a 2-disc set. Mm-hmm. But there's only music on one side of each disc.
Is it like the show on another side of it, or what?
No, it's etched. One has the Autobot symbol etched on the back. The other one has the Decepticon symbol etched on the back.
They were expecting you to hang that on your wall as opposed to actually listen to the thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I remember, I've had this CD forever. It's like the cheesiest 80s music, like some like cheesy 80s metal, cheesy 80s pop, and then a bunch of like weird synth stuff. But I remember seeing this movie in the theater with my mom when I was a kid.
This is the animated feature-length film?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, that's mine.
All right, we're getting there.
We lost them in 2022.
I had the distinct pleasure of shooting stills of Kim Simmons when he came through for the 50th anniversary of Savoy Brown. And Doug Braden, who's a friend of mine, local dude, you actually just fixed his turntable.
Oh, yeah.
He is in a band that played here when he was in college called the Peak Friends, which is a reference to some cookie in England. Look it up. But he's always been a blues guy, and he loves the UK blues stuff, and he's, turned me on to a bunch of different things, including, like, Good Rats and, like, different bands that you just never heard. You just never hear of this stuff, you know what I mean? So... so he helped bring Kim Simmons to the Aggie not once but twice, and I shot both of those shows, and so this one hit home a little bit when we heard that Kim Simmons had passed. So rest in peace, man.
Yeah, this year was a tough year. We lost a lot of talented folks. I chose Mark Lanigan, lead singer of the Screaming Trees, and it's kind of sad and ironic because he just released a book called Devil in a Coma in 2021, and it was about how he got COVID and survived. And then just shortly after that, he passed, and I heard that he might have got COVID again and died of it, but I couldn't find that actually documented anywhere.
Yeah.
But shout out to my buddy Jason at Songbird Records, who is a big Mark Lanigan fan and told me all about it and encouraged me to buy this record, and it's a pretty great record.
It's tough, man. It's tough here.
All right, disappointing purchase in
You know,
2022.
I think you do this, and it's like the disappointing purchase is more about like, it's not necessarily about the record. It might be about the pressing, and that's what it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had looked for this record for a good couple of years because
What is it?
it's "I Am Loving You" by the Avett Brothers.
Okay.
And it was, it just was always sold out, and it was kind of out of press. I had opportunities to order it, back in the day, and I just didn't. And then it was just not available for a while. So when I saw it come back up for reissue or repress, in the store, I dropped my $40 down and I paid for it. I don't like to spend $40 on a single record. I'll just throw it out there. It's not my favorite thing to do. I do it when it's a record that I care about. I do it when it's a record for my personal collection. I do it when it's a record that I know my family's going to enjoy. And this is one of those records. I mean, I have videos that I've cut to Charlie singing Avett Brothers songs when he was a little kid.
Wow.
So Avett Brothers, is a special band for me. I've taken the wife to see them at Red Rocks. I've shot them at Red Rocks. They're just a great band. Shot them at summer camp. But when I got this record home and I played it, the pressing has a lot of pops, a lot of crackle, and it's like you can forgive it a little bit. I mean, I think we talked about this with the Pink Floyd,
Animals,
the Animals reissue. It has some pops. We listened to my copy. It's not horrible.
Yeah, but it's still not what you expect.
When
from
you're
a brand new
spending
record.
$30 or $40 on a brand new record, it should be pristine. Yeah. But I think we're going to get into that issue more and more as the distribution chain for vinyl has ramped up.
I'm seeing improvements in some areas, and then other areas it's still kind of rough, But
that's maybe a different video.
There's some key. Yeah, that's a different video.
Well, I would say that was disappointing, not because of the record. I still listen to it, but it's just got some noise.
So mine's kind of in a similar vein. This is Tool's Fear Inoculum, and the music's awesome, the packaging is awesome, and the vinyl sounds great. What's wrong with this? What frustrated me about this is a few months after this was released, I was very excited about this. They released a new Tool album, right? So I pre-ordered it, and I thought I got a decent deal on it. Well, I got it, and it was great, and then they re-released it in a non-box set format, way cheaper.
Would you have preferred to not have the box set on your shelf?
Yeah.
Sure.
And then the price of this thing plummeted. Like, you can get this now for about half of what I paid.
So was that a $100 set when you bought it?
This was $180. I got it for like $160, and now you can get it for like
you can
$60 or $80.
I've seen it for $100 or less.
Yeah, less than $100. So, kind of a disappointment there. But I mean, I'm glad I have it, and it sounds great. But it was kind of a bummer situation.
Yes, I would say on some of those, man, it pays to wait, and then on other ones, it doesn't.
Yeah, so when it's Tool, it's like, well, it's going to sell out like that, and it's going to be hard to find. Well, that was not the case with this one.
Yeah.
So, all right. I guess the flip side of that is, the non-vinyl purchase.
Oh, yeah. This one's a couple years old. I just want to bring him up because I'm such a fan, and I honestly feel like if it hadn't been for some of Mark Spoose's art, I'm going to spell it for you, MarQSPUSTA. He's an artist out of the Bay Area in San Francisco. I have another video. I interviewed him several years ago, but this is an art print called Listening, and it's specifically a couple of creatures and some pets maybe listening to some classic rock. If you look real close, you can see, a copy of Dark Side of the Moon and some other stuff. There's, Marvin Gaye's What's Going On there and some other things. But Mark is such a huge record guy, and he's an illustrator, and so he has taken his love of vinyl and he's created some art, most famously this piece, around vinyl records. This came out when I first started kind of collecting his art around 2015, 2016, seriously collecting his art. And I missed it. I just didn't get it. And last year, a buddy of mine popped into the world with it, and I bought it, and then I had Mike at Never Ending Splendor frame it, and now it hangs above my vinyl records, and I love it.
That's awesome. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So it's my non-vinyl purchase.
So my non-vinyl purchase is kind of funny, and so I did buy a new car this year. That's not the purchase, but my old car, I would actually have all my music on my iPod. Yes, an iPod, a very old iPod.
Sure.
This car didn't support that iPod, and
It didn't have an aux port or anything?
well, I plugged it in, and it says, I don't know what this is. So I'm like, okay,
right.
well, I'll have to figure something out. But with that, it came with a free trial of Sirius XM radio, right? So I'm like, what the heck, I'll try it. So I subscribed for the next year. I got the $5 a month deal or whatever it is. And I've actually really enjoyed it. I've actually discovered a couple of new bands that I've never even heard of or weren't really familiar with.
Sure.
I'm like, hey, these guys are pretty good. So it kind of opened up, because I don't stream music very much, and I really just listen to the media that I have. So it's kind of fun to listen to.
Do you have a DAC setup on your modern setup in the basement?
What do you mean, a DAC setup? Like a streaming
like
setup?
a digital audio component?
No,
audio...
I can hook that up, but I don't like to keep it. I don't have it hooked up.
My DAC is a Bluetooth.
I had one of those for a while, and I would connect my phone to it, and then it wouldn't disconnect the phone ever. So then I'd be like watching a video in the other room and just play through my stereo.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's annoying.
That's annoying.
So
I will mention one other thing that I did purchase. I got my 2270 this year. So my Marantz 2270, because that's a non-vinyl purchase that's pretty big to me in the last year. Got it from a guy down in Denver, and I paid $900 for it. I'll be honest with you. I think that's a little high.
That's about what they go for.
That's what they go for. I think you can get a little more out of it, but I was able to move a few things around to where it was on a day that we were having a record show, so I didn't really pay anything for it, actually. It was pretty cheap, actually. So,
all right, next up is a GRAIL you found this year.
So me and Lance split a collection that had a bunch of Grateful Dead in it.
Okay, yeah.
And in there was Hooter Roll. This is a record that gets touted about a lot, and people are like, well, I gotta have it. I didn't think that I really needed it. I listened to a few tracks on it. Nah, this record's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's funky. It's like fun. It's just bouncy. Like the stuff that he's doing with Howard Wales. And Jerry didn't really do that kind of stuff with anybody else. So this is really cool stuff.
Oh,
it's a great record, for sure.
Well, I don't remember if I talked about this record before, but this is a GRAIL of mine that I've been looking for. It's called Camelot, the Black Halo.
Okay.
So this is, they're kind of like a symphonic prog metal band from Europe. No, actually they're from the U.S. But this pressing was only pressed in Europe.
Okay.
So it's never pressed in the U.S. And I was watching on Discogs Forever, and it was like in the $250 to $300 range. And I'm just like, I can't. And then with the shipping overseas, it was just like, it was just too much. I'm like, maybe they'll repress it or whatever. And I got lucky, and I just randomly clicked on, I was looking for the CD on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And you know how you can click CD or vinyl?
Or whatever.
I clicked on the vinyl because there was something there, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's not just 2 lines. It's not available or whatever.
Yeah, it said, and they had it for $100, and it was somebody selling it.
It was a used one?
Yeah, it was a used one. So I'm like, but there's no way to tell what the condition is.
Sure.
Whatever. I'm like, for $100, I'm going to take the chance. So
they're an Amazon seller. Theoretically, you can still ship it back at some point, right?
Yeah. So I figured I might be all right there. So I got it, and it's not like perfect, but it's pretty darn good for $100.
Yeah.
This was a steal.
Nice.
And I'm glad I found it the way I did instead of spending an obscene amount of money for it.
Again, patience, people. Patience. Yep. Yeah.
Sometimes you nail it, and sometimes you don't.
Yeah. Well, I won't say. I mean, I guess it can be hit or miss.
Yeah.
Buy it if you see it, but be patient.
Yeah, it's a balancing act. Okay, and the next one is, these questions crack me up. A space-themed album, sleeve, or song?
Go. What you got?
I chose Iron Maiden, The Final Frontier.
Dude, they put out a record every year. I don't remember seeing that cover.
Well, this one's actually quite a few years ago.
Okay.
What's cool about this is this was the album that was out when I got to see them in concert at Fiddler's Green.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. I'd have to go look when this came out. 2010.
Okay.
So it's a little older, but yeah, it's all right. It's nothing like
There's
crazy
there's a
special.
planet on it.
The artwork on it is just
It's a lot.
cracks me up.
It's a lot.
So
This one was, I mean, need I say more? I mean, it's Parliament's Mothership Connection. Like, it's easy.
What's spacey about it? I don't
I don't know.
understand.
It's like a mothership and a connection. I don't know.
There you go. We did it. Show some VCLT or a present. So what is VCLT?
I had to look it up. It seems sad that I had to look it up considering the fact that I run a vinyl community. VCLT stands for Vinyl Community Love Train. I know what this is because we would do this in like the art collecting world where we would like just send me your, let's get an address thing going. Let's get some people. Let's get a package going, and we'll start sending it around and take it, leave it, take it kind of. So there's all kinds of different ways.
And we did this in the Vinyl Herd a couple years ago for Christmas, right? We did kind of like a Secret Santa
thing last year, and so we've done things along this line, but we will probably be introducing a vinyl love train. The way that it works is that somebody sends it to somebody, and then that somebody sends it to the next somebody, and then that somebody, just kind of keep going. You can do it in different ways.
Sending cool music around and just exposing people to different things.
If you say, hey, we're going to do, a vinyl love train with $5 records, that's not really hurting anybody. Or if you want to make it a little bit more robust, hey, throw a $20 record in there, and this is you can do different things that are, whatever. But usually it's a way to share with people. It's a little bit different way to share with people. Yeah. But otherwise, you're getting gifted a record. I was hanging out right before Christmas, doing a little pre-Christmas shopping at Songbird Records, and Jason gave me this. This is Groove Holmes' Night Glider. This is just a fantastic little like instrumental funk album.
It sounds cool, actually.
It's like, look at the guy. I mean, I just look at that record album and I'm gonna buy that. Look at how happy he looks. I'm gonna buy that record every time. But it's along the lines of like Booker T and the MGs, or like even like Reuben Wilson, where it's sort of funky, organ-driven, like instrumental, like covers and bouncy, fun tunes. So it's fantastic.
So I just chose a Christmas present I got this year. So this is Mastodon, Leviathan, and I got this from my sister this year as a Christmas present, and it's just got an awesome cover art, and some people say this is like their favorite Mastodon album. It's
Sweet.
good. I like it.
It's cool.
It's on this sweet gold.
Oh, yeah. I have a couple of squirrely gold ones. Those are cool. And when they say gold, it should be that color gold.
Right. All right, we're down to our last one, number 20. Show an album released in 1973. And that's because it's 50 years old.
Just want to make sure that I wasn't talking out of school here. This is Dr. John's In the Right Place. 1973, man. There's some great... I was looking through some of my funk collection. I was looking through some of the other stuff, but this record, Dr. John In the Right Place, it's an original pressing from 1973 on that old Atco label. Great record. That's all I got to say about it.
I have Buckingham Nicks. Yeah, I mean, not much to say about this. If you're ever into the Fleetwood Mac and, like the Rumors time frame, you're going to probably like this album too.
What's crazy about that is I didn't think, that's another one, like Who's Roll, that I didn't necessarily think that I needed, and I have it, and it's fantastic. It's great.
Isn't it good?
So
I have one more record here.
I do too. It's like an honorable mention. What is it?
No, this is, there's a sticker on here. This is your Christmas present.
Oh. Well, this is my VLC Vinyl Love Train here. No, we've been talking about this for a minute. Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Pearl Jam's Vitology. Why are you giving me this? Because you just got an original pressing of this?
Yeah, I got an original pressing. And that was the one that was in my collection, and said you were looking for it, and you need it. So
I need it.
There you go.
All right. Well, after we get done here, I'll let you go dig out in the garage. I just have one more honorable mention. I got this at the show. I don't mind these little the little corner bends sometimes when I get them from the band directly, because I know why it's
Yeah,
there.
because it's being shipped around from
it's
city
been
to city.
dragged around from merch booth to merch booth. So, again, if you are a stickler, though, keep an eye on that kind of stuff because you're going to buy the record from them and you're going to have a bent corner or something like that. So if you're really a stickler about it, just ask them to grab another one out of the bottom. But Keller Williams, after 20 years, repressed Laugh. And this was the Keller Williams record that I was into when I was a kid. So this would have fallen into, like, what you bought from the last show you went to.
Yeah.
But this was the show before the last show. So.
Cool.
And it's on that red translucent. So, yeah, man, that's Vinyl Tag 2022. I would invite everybody in the herd to do one of these too. I would invite people that are just getting into vinyl. This is a great way to look back on a year of collecting and kind of look at it through a lens that's not your lens. Like it's not. You're looking at it through a different series of questions that allow you to look at your collection in a different way, and I just think it's fun.
Yeah, it was fun to do this again and actually not be too late to the game.
Yeah. So hopefully, if you're into it, check us out. We got a large community on Facebook that's growing and we're getting ready to announce some very, very big things in the next couple of weeks. So tune into the Vinyl Herd, HEARD. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. Yeah, we're going to try to get some more content out for you guys, man. Happy New Year.
All right, Happy New Year.